The trial of the human, the chamber of the Galactic Council, was built to make anyone feel small. Its walls stretched high like mountains, glowing with symbols of alien empires that had ruled the stars for centuries. At the center stood a circle of light where the accused was placed, surrounded by rows of alien leaders. Today, in that circle, stood a human. Chains bound his wrists, though his posture was steady. His uniform was torn, burned from battle, but his eyes carried no fear. He looked up at the towering leaders as if they were nothing more than men. The Speaker of the Council, a tall creature with silver skin and a voice like thunder, raised his staff. "This human," he declared, "is brought before us for crimes of war. His defiance has cost fleets, shattered worlds, and disturbed the balance of the galaxy. He is no hero, he is a danger to us all." The chamber erupted with angry voices. "Destroyed an entire battalion with nothing but scraps," shouted a Sharathi admiral, his mandibles clattering in rage. "He turned slaves into soldiers," snarled a Vraxis warlord, pounding his armored fist against the railing. "He should not even be alive," hissed a Thalaran scholar, his golden eyes sharp with hate. "Yet here he stands mocking us by breathing." The noise grew louder, echoing through the vast chamber. But the human said nothing. He stood silent, his head slightly bowed, a faint smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. Finally, the speaker struck his staff again. The noise faded. His silver eyes narrowed. "Human, do you understand the charges against you?" The human lifted his head. His voice was calm, low, yet carried through the chamber with a weight no one expected. "I understand," he said. "You're angry because I lived." The chamber froze. Some aliens hissed in outrage. Others stared in disbelief. No prisoner had ever dared speak so plainly to the council. The Vraxis warlord leaned forward, his jagged teeth bared. "You should have died like the rest of your kind. Yet you crawled from the ashes again and again. That is why we call you what you are, that damned human." The words echoed across the chamber. Many nodded, repeating it like a curse. That damned human. But the man only chuckled. His laugh was quiet, sharp, and it cut through the chamber louder than any roar. "Think the name is an insult?" he asked, his eyes flashing. "You're wrong. It means you tried to kill me. It means you failed. It means you'll keep failing." Murmurs spread through the council seats. Some leaders shifted uncomfortably. Others clenched their jaws in. "Fury," the Thalaran scholar hissed. "Arrogant creature. Do you believe you alone defied us? You are nothing but chance, nothing but luck." The human tilted his head. "Luck? Maybe. Or maybe it's something you don't understand, something you've never had." He leaned forward, his voice sharper now. "The will to keep going when every part of you is broken. The fire that doesn't die, no matter how many times you tried to stamp it out." The silence that followed was heavy. The council did not want to admit it, but they had seen it with their own eyes. Armies shattered, yet humans rose again. Battles lost, yet somehow humans endured. The speaker's voice cut through the tension. "Enough. Your words mean nothing. The council will judge you not by speeches, but by the truth of your actions. We will show the records of your war. We will show what you did, and then you will be sentenced." The human stood tall, unflinching. "Then show them. Let every empire here see what one human can do." The lights dimmed. Holograms flickered to life above the chamber scenes of war. Chaos and fire. Alien fleets descending, worlds burning, soldiers falling. And through it all, one figure kept appearing, fighting, leading, surviving. The aliens in the chamber watched in silence. The images told the story better than any words could. The human did not lower his eyes. He met the gaze of every leader around him, daring them to keep watching. And as the first images of the great battle filled the air, One thought burned in the minds of all who saw. How did he survive this? The battle no one expected. The holograms above the council chamber shifted, showing the dark skies of a ruined colony world. Fire covered the horizon. Alien warships rained destruction from orbit, their cannons blasting cities into dust. Soldiers scattered below, their defenses broken, their leaders dead. The speaker's voice carried over the images. This was the Battle of Mirrodin, a human colony world. The enemy fleet numbered in the thousands. No army should have survived, and yet one human did. The projection zoomed in. Amid the smoke and chaos, a single figure staggered through the wreckage. His uniform was torn, his face covered in ash and blood, but his eyes burned with fire. "That damned human," hissed the Shirali admiral. "He should have died here." But he hadn't. The hologram showed him pulling broken weapons from the rubble, repairing them with scraps, and turning them against the invaders. Alone, he struck back, moving like a shadow between craters and ruins. He fought not with advanced tech, but with grit and desperation. Day after day, he survived. When alien patrols swept the city, he set traps that tore through their ranks. When they tried to starve him, he scavenged from wreckage and even from the enemy's dead. When they cornered him, he refused to run. He fought until his last bullet, then picked up another weapon and kept going. The chamber murmured. Many had heard rumors, but seeing the way one soldier fought armies, it unsettled them. "He was only a man," whispered one alien commander. How did he last so long? The images grew clearer. The battle stretched for weeks. Each day, the invaders reported the same thing: human forces destroyed. Each night, he returned, striking again. They began to fear the shadows, fear the ruins, fear every sound, because it might be him. Soon, whispers spread even among the enemy soldiers. They gave him a name, that damned human, not out of mockery, but out of fear. One recording flickered on the hologram, captured from the enemy commander's log. The alien's voice shook with frustration. "He does not stop. He does not rest. Every day we kill him, and every day he returns. If he lives through this, I will call him the end of us all." The chamber fell silent. The words of their own commander cut deeper than any speech. On the hologram, the battle reached its climax. The alien fleet descended for a final strike, determined to erase the last resistance. But the human did the unthinkable. He rallied the broken survivors, the wounded, the weak, the forgotten. He turned them into fighters. With scavenged weapons, stolen tech, and sheer will, they struck back. They destroyed ships that should have been untouchable. They forced an entire fleet to retreat. The chamber filled with gasps. Some alien leaders shook their heads in disbelief. Others stared at the human in the circle below, as if seeing him for the first time. "He was not supposed to win," whispered the Fowran scholar, but he had not just won. He had changed the rules. The hologram faded. Silence returned to the chamber. Every leader stared down at the prisoner. The speaker's voice trembled with unspoken fear. This was the battle no one expected. The day one human defied an empire. The chains clinked as the man lifted his head. His eyes burned, steady and unyielding. "You wanted to see why I lived," he said quietly. "Now you know." The council sat frozen. No one laughed this time, and somewhere deep in the chamber, a whisper passed between alien lips, fearful, quiet, but spreading fast. "That damned human." Fear in the enemy ranks. The holograms shifted again. This time they showed. The inside of alien war camps, rows of soldiers, strong fleets above, endless weapons ready. These were the armies that had crushed dozens of worlds without effort. But in the recordings, something was different. They were afraid. The speaker's voice narrated, calm but heavy. "After Mirrodin, something changed. The human was not simply a survivor. He became a shadow in the minds of his enemies. The images showed alien patrols marching through ruins, their weapons shaking in their hands. Their commanders shouted orders, but the soldiers flinched at every sound, every broken pipe, every whisper of wind. One soldier's log appeared, his voice recorded in panic. He's still here. We burned the city, we killed his men, but he won't die. We hear him at night gunfire, footsteps, the screams of our own. We call him that damned human, and every time we say it, more of us vanish. The chamber stirred. Many alien leaders shifted uncomfortably, realizing their armies, disciplined and proud, had feared one man like a monster. The hologram showed him again, moving through smoke, striking fast. He never fought with superior weapons, only with stolen ones. Every alien tool he touched, he learned. Every enemy tactic he saw, he twisted against them. The Thauran scholar leaned forward, golden eyes narrowing. It cannot be. No species learns this quickly, not in the middle of war. But the proof was before them. One recording showed the human using a Vraxis heavy cannon. At first, his shots were wild, clumsy. Days later, he fired it with such precision that even Vraxis soldiers admitted no one among them could match him. Another showed him flying a captured Shirathi drone, piloting it with sharper maneuvers than its designers. He turned their own machines against them, better than they had ever managed. Fear spread in enemy ranks. Soldiers deserted. Commanders issued desperate orders to destroy him at any cost. Yet the more they tried, the more they lost. The Shirathi admiral slammed his mandibles together. He should not have survived those battles. He turned our own fleets against us. The human in the circle only smirked. His voice was calm. You trained me. You just didn't mean to. Gasps filled the chamber. The alien leaders looked at him with disbelief and quiet fear. One of the council guards whispered, unable to stop himself. If he can turn every weapon against us, what happens if more humans do the same? The thought rippled through the chamber. For centuries, the galaxy's great powers had relied on superiority, bigger ships, stronger armies, endless knowledge. But this man had shown something terrifying. Humans didn't need to be stronger. They only needed time. And then they would use their enemy's strength as their own. The speaker's voice was quiet now. Even empires began to whisper. They feared not the armies of humanity, but the idea of one soldier who refused to fall. They feared the curse of his name, that damned human. The holograms flickered out, leaving only silence. The man in chains lifted his head, his eyes burning like fire. You wanted to know why your armies failed. It wasn't your weapons. It wasn't your numbers. It was fear. You feared one man. And fear spreads faster than fire. The council sat frozen, the weight of his words pressing on every ruler in the chamber. And in that silence, the truth settled like a shadow across the galaxy. If one human could do this, what would happen when all of them rose? The turning point, the holograms flared to life again, showing the aftermath of endless battles. Alien warships hovered over ruined cities, their banners high in the smoke. On the ground, broken survivors wandered like ghosts, human soldiers scattered, wounded, and hopeless. But in the middle of the ashes, there he was again. The sane man, that damned human. He stood tall when others fell. He moved with purpose while others hid. He did not only fight, he inspired. At first, he gathered only a handful. Survivors who had lost everything, soldiers with broken weapons, colonists who had never held a gun, and even slaves from other alien races who had been abandoned by their masters. They were weak, starving, and afraid, but he spoke to them. His voice was steady, hard as iron. You are not broken, he told them. You are alive. And if you are alive, then you can fight. And if you can fight, then you can win. The hologram showed the group slowly changing. They trained in the ruins, scavenging weapons from fallen enemies. They learned from him how to fight, how to hide, how to strike when least expected. The aliens in the council chamber shifted uneasily. They saw their slaves in those recordings, Alien. Species who had always bowed to their masters, now holding weapons beside humans, fighting as equals. The Shirathi admiral hissed. He turned cowards into soldiers. No, the human in chains corrected, his eyes burning. I showed them. They already had the strength. They just needed someone to remind them. The holograms continued. The survivors became a force. They struck back at patrols. They raided supply lines. They destroyed ships meant to crush them. The enemy's reports grew frantic. What should have been a dying colony had become a rebellion. 1. Captured alien officer's log appeared on the display. His voice was tight with fear. He does not fight alone. He infects others with his will. He makes them believe they can win. We kill one group, and 2 more rise. We tried to crush him, but his spirit spreads like a fire we cannot control. The council murmured nervously. Even they could not ignore what they saw. This was no longer about one man. It was about what he had created. The Fallon scholar leaned forward, his voice tight. No empire has ever seen this. Soldiers are born, trained, ordered. But this human, he builds them out of nothing. The hologram shifted again. Now it showed a night raid. A small band of humans and freed slaves struck a supply camp of 1,000 alien troops. Outnumbered, outgunned, but they fought with such fury that the larger force collapsed. Explosions lit the sky as their stolen weapons tore through the camp. The survivors cheered, shouting his name not as a curse, but as a banner. That damned human dot, it was no longer an insult. It was a rallying cry. The alien leaders in the council chamber sat in heavy silence. Their pride, their certainty, their belief in unshakable superiority, it all cracked with each image. The human raised his head, meeting their eyes. His voice was low, steady, unshakable. You tried to break me. Instead, I broke your hold on fear. You call me that damned human because you don't understand. But they do. Every man, every woman, every slave who fought beside me, they understand. That name is not your curse. It is our strength. The chamber was silent. No alien dared to speak dot, and then the hologram ended, leaving the council staring at the man in chains, who had turned ruins into armies, despair into fire. The speaker's voice was quiet, almost shaken. This was the turning point. The human only smiled faintly. No, this was only the beginning. The council learns the truth. The chamber was darker now, only the flicker of holograms lighting the alien faces. None of the council leaders left anymore. Their eyes were fixed on the images above them, each one showing the same figure again and again, the human they had cursed, the man they could not kill. The speaker raised his staff slowly. The records are clear. This human's defiance lasted not days, but months. Entire fleets were sent to end him. Yet he survived, he fought, and he won. The hologram shifted, displaying battle reports. One fleet destroyed near the ruins of Mirrodin. Another beaten back from an ambush where only a handful of humans and freed slaves fought. Entire armadas forced into retreat. Gasps filled the chamber. Some alien rulers clenched their jaws. Others looked away. A shamed Dotafalaran scholar spoke bitterly. This is impossible. No single man can fight fleets. The speaker's voice was calm. He did not fight alone. He created something new. He gave others his will. And through that will, they became more than soldiers. The hologram displayed intercepted messages from alien soldiers. Their voices trembled with fear. He's not human. He's a phantom, No matter how many times we kill him, he returns. Don't say his name. Saying it makes him real. The chamber grew colder. The alien leaders were forced to face the truth. Not only had their armies feared him, but their fear had spread like a sickness. The Shirathi admiral slammed his claws against the railing. One human should not have this power. If his kind learn of what he has done, then none of us will sleep again. Finished Avraxis warlord, his voice low and grim. The chains rattled as the man in the circle lifted his head. His eyes scanned the chamber. You finally understand. It was never about me alone. It was about what one human can ignite in others. The council shifted uneasily. The truth was undeniable. Their fleets, their armies, their pride none of. It had stopped him. And the more they tried to crush him, the more legends grew in the shadows. The speaker leaned forward, his voice almost a whisper. If one human can turn slaves into soldiers, if one human can stand against fleets, what happens when all of humanity learns this strength? The silence was heavy. No one answered. They all knew the answer, but feared to speak it aloud. The prisoner's faint smile returned. His voice was calm, but it carried across the chamber like steel. You will call me a monster. You will call me a danger. You will call me that damned human. But know this, if one of me can shake your empires, imagine what happens when millions rise. The chamber erupted in shouting. Some demanded his execution at once. Others argued for study, for containment, for bargaining. Fear battled with anger, pride with dread. But beneath all their words lay the same unspoken truth. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, and now it trembled at the thought of what might come next. The speaker struck his staff again, silencing the noise. His silver eyes glowed faintly as he looked down at the man. You have shown us the truth, human. Truth we did not wish to see. Perhaps the greatest danger is not your strength, but the fear you plant in all who face you. The human did not deny it. He only stood taller in his chains. Fear? He said softly. No, what I plant is hope for humans, for anyone willing to fight, and hope is far more dangerous than fear. The chamber froze. Even the speaker lowered his gaze. The record ended, leaving the council staring at the man who had broken their armies and their pride, and in the silence that followed, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. The breaking of pride, the chamber of the Galactic Council, had turned tense. No one laughed now. No one sneered. The air was heavy, filled with shame, anger, and something worse - fear. The speaker lifted his staff and spoke with sharp authority. Human, you have disturbed this council long enough. You are not a symbol of hope. You are a beast of war, a threat to the balance of the stars. Several leaders shouted in agreement. Yes, he must be erased before others follow him. His people must be chained, their worlds controlled. He is proof that humanity is dangerous. The voices rose, each empire trying to bury their fear under anger. They wanted to remind themselves that they were still rulers of the galaxy, that one man could not shame them all. But the human only stood calmly, his chains clinking softly as he lifted his head. His voice was quiet, but carried through the hall like thunder. You call me a beast? You call me dangerous? You are right. The council froze. I am dangerous, he continued, his eyes burning. Not because of strength, not because of fleets, but because I will not kneel. You could burn my world, shatter my armies, enslave my people, and still we would rise again. That is why you fear me. That is why you call me that damned human. Gasps filled the chamber. His words cut deeper than any weapon. The alien rulers shifted uneasily in their seats. The Vraxis warlord roared, trying to drown him out. You are nothing but stubborn flesh. Empires fall, and you will fall with them. The human's faint smile returned. His eyes locked with the warlords. Empires fall because they fight for thrones, for crowns, for power. Humans fight for survival. And survival always wins. The council grew silent again. His words echoed across the chamber like a blade slicing through pride. Thalaran Scholar's voice was a whisper. He believes it, and worse, he makes us believe it too. The human leaned forward slightly, his chains rattling, but his posture proud. You call me cursed. You call me damned. But what I truly am is proof. Proof that your empires are not eternal. Proof that fear does not last. Proof that hope cannot be killed. For a long moment, no one spoke. The alien leaders, so proud, so mighty, could not meet his eyes. Their pride cracked under the weight of his truth. Finally, the speaker slammed his staff down. His silver skin trembled with fury. Enough! Sentence will be given tomorrow. Guards remove him. Soldiers stepped forward, their weapons raised. But as they dragged the man toward the exit, his voice carried once more through the chamber, calm and unshaken. Remember this day. You tried to shame me, but in the end, it is your pride that lies broken. And when the rest of humanity rises, the galaxy will remember me not as your prisoner, but as your warning. The door shut behind him with a heavy boom, leaving the chamber. In suffocating silence, every leader sat frozen. They had wanted to break the human. Instead, his words broke them, and deep in their hearts, each ruler whispered the same cursed name with dread. That damned human. That damned human. The next day, the chamber of the Galactic Council was full again. The banners of 100 empires hung high, but the air was heavy with unease. The leaders sat in silence, their pride cracked, their voices subdued. At the center stood the human once more, his chains still around his wrists. His face was bruised, his uniform torn, yet he looked unbroken. His eyes held the same fire that had shaken fleets and armies. The Speaker of the Council raised his staff. His voice tried to sound strong, but a tremor betrayed him. Human, your crimes are endless. You spread rebellion. You defied empires. You brought fear to our fleets. Today, this council will decide your fate. The chamber rumbled with murmurs. Some demanded death. Some whispered about exile. Others argued that killing him would only make him a martyr. But before the debate could continue, the human spoke. His voice was calm, steady, carrying across the hall. You think you decide my fate? You think your vote, your sentence, your chains will matter? The council froze. No, he continued. You've already lost, because my name has already left this chamber. Your soldiers whisper it. Your slaves shout it. Even your commanders curse it. That damned human. And every time they say it, they remember something you can never erase: hope. Gasps spread across the chamber. The alien rulers exchanged glances, but none could deny it. The name had spread, farther than any fleet could travel. The holograms flickered again, not from the council's command, but from signals pouring in. Recordings from across the galaxy filled the chamber, alien soldiers muttering in fear, slaves chanting in defiance, even children repeating the cursed name. That damned human. The sound echoed through the chamber like thunder, not an insult anymore, but a banner. The speaker's silver skin paled. He struck his staff again, shouting, "Silence! This is a council chamber. This is not his court." But it was too late. The name had already escaped their control. The human raised his chained hands slightly. His faint smile returned. You tried to bury me with that name, but you made it stronger. You made me a legend. And legends do not die. The guards stepped forward to silence him, but the council did not speak. Their power felt hollow now. They had tried to break him, yet it was their authority that had shattered Dot as the human was dragged away. His final words echoed through the chamber, heavy and unstoppable. Remember me well. When the rest of humanity rises, you will know it was not your fleets or your crowns that fell first. It was your pride. And the galaxy will remember who broke it, that damned human. The doors closed behind him with a crash. For a long time, the council sat in silence. No one dared to speak. No one dared to laugh. The words lingered in the air, heavier than any sentence they could pass. And far beyond the chamber, across colonies, across warfronts, across the stars themselves, the name spread like fire. It became a warning. It became a promise. That damned human dot not a curse, not an insult, but a legend dot, and from that day on, the galaxy would never forget.